Hey everybody, welcome to a gameplay video. Gonna use the replay feature because I tried to record a video earlier and it crapped out. I got a new mic and the audio was way too soft and I was not enunciating like I should and I had like no energy, so I'm gonna try and bring some life to this one. I don't want to give too much away, so you can sort of figure out and formulate things as you see them on the board. But I think that's probably a good place to start. So this is a ranked match. I'm gonna go ahead and hit play. I do know that I'm playing against Ruuben. They were ranked rank of 658. So stats. Thank you, Summoner Mod. Thank you, K Bastion. The Summoner mod is awesome for anybody who hasn't tried it out yet. Game replays are great, so that's all I got. Alright, gonna go ahead and start this. So I start first. I try and say hello. I think I try and say good luck too, but I screwed up. There we go. Okay, so now that is out of the way. So, looking at my hand, we see an interesting hand. We see some early aggressive stuff in Crimson Bowl and Vader of the Wild, but then we also see this late gameplay of Fertile Soil Quake. So we're kind of at two different paths, but both of them actually start with Vader of the Wild. Now there's some people who feel that Vader is never a good turn one play. I actually probably am starting to agree with them, but it can work out for you, but I don't know. I'm on the fence. Maybe it's better at turn two, but especially in this instance where if we know that we're playing Fertile Soil, then if we go turn 2 Vader, then we can go turn 3 Fertile Soil, and we have like a smaller window for that Vader to die. And we don't know what our opponent's playing, so we really don't know a whole lot at this point. So we're going to go ahead and play. You see my play here. I sack the Crimson Bowl. So that's me deciding to make the long-term game here without knowing what my opponent's playing for the Fertile Soil Quake play. Now we get a Kinfolk Brave. Between Brother of the Wolf and Kinfolk Brave, I decide to sack the Brother of the Wolf so that I can more easily protect my Kinfolk Brave. Now, it seems counterintuitive because that doesn't really work well with our Quake play because it dies, but I just didn't want my Vader to die prematurely because it's such a great Fertile Soil target. Now here, we're still holding on to that Quake. We pitch Fertile Soil. We end up using that Fertile Soil right away, so we go back down to 3 resources. At this point, we're actually not doing too great position-wise, other than the fact that we have drawn or seen a lot of our deck, or more of our deck, I guess. But that second Fertile Soil makes me feel like we're on the right path and that we're going towards a long game plan. So then that's my turn. I put an attack in. We move down because we want to try and keep our opponent off of being able to use anything for that Sisters of the Fox. We anticipate maybe that they have their own Fertile Soil. In this instance, we are making the decision of what to sacrifice for our 4th resource, but we know we're obviously not going to cast a Fertile Soil this turn. We end up going to sacrifice the Bear Paw because it feels like we have fewer units to capitalize on Bear Paw, and we knew we weren't going to cast it that turn. Now, the argument could be made that I probably could have saved that Bear Paw and then cast Ranger's Vein, but I didn't want to leave my opponent with the Sisters of the Fox on the board, so that I wanted to deny them creatures on the board, essentially, to keep them off of Fertile Soil. But yes, still a pretty standard. We drew Ragged Wolf, so we decided to then capitalize on that Fertile Soil. Right now, looking at our hand, we have five scrolls to their 5 scrolls, but they're going to go down a scroll to get to 4, and then the one they cast puts them at 3 scrolls. So we're still ahead, except for now we see board position wise we're definitely in a worse spot. Anytime you play against a growth deck, you have to watch their resources and see when they're approaching 5, because when they approach 5, that's when their explosive haste guy comes out. Kinfolk Veteran can deal lots of damage, and you need to prepare for that however you can. In this instance, we didn't really have a good way of doing that. We did have a Ragged Wolf that we could have left on the board, but I wanted to just capitalize on the fertile soil as soon as possible, so that's what we went with. In retrospect, maybe not the best play, but I think it panned out. So get back to it, do some more explaining as I can. I think so. It's my turn. We just pitched a scroll. I think it was that we pitched that Ranger's Bane, I think it was, as it goes by me. There is no reverse function, so I should note this stuff earlier. But we're going to Frost Scale here to get them down to 3, and then sort of soften them up for this Frost Scale Quake turn that may come up as we start to plan things. We're going to move put our brother the wolf out. That's going to allow us to, now before this moves on, that's going to allow us to sort of establish some board position, and if we get the chance, we could use him to summon a wolf and then cast Fertile Soil on that summoned wolf. But really, looking at the board position, we're not in the best spot, other than we have 6 resources to their 5 resources, and we have 3 scrolls in hand to their 4. So they would have to at least go to 3 to get up to 6 resources if they wanted to, and then if they cast anything. Anyway, they're definitely in a better spot on the board, but we have a way to capitalize to sort of turn the tables with Frost Scale and Quake. One thing I didn't notice, or I didn't plan for, there's a contingency, is that if I was really trying to keep this alive, this Brother of the Wolf technically has a greater range, because it can summon a wolf, and it can summon a wolf into one of these spaces and then move the wolf over to engage with my Brother of the Wolf. So I didn't pay enough attention to that. I could have put that Brother of the Wolf in that first lane. Anyway, lots of information coming at you, but the key thing is that the strategy we're going for in this game was a long game instead of a short game play. So we're going for more card advantage and board control instead of quick aggression. So there's that play that our opponent makes. It's a fine play. And then he puts out a Great Wolf. So we're really gonna capitalize. We get that second Quake, and now we know for certain that we can just wipe his board. So at this point, we end up letting our unit die, and then we're gonna go ahead and cast a Frost Scale here to soften up his whole board, make this next Quake that comes down real good. But we wanted to get to 8 there, so we had to get to 7. So we let go of something that I just wasn't paying attention. Now this is an interesting play my opponent makes. They cast Noati. Noati's a great scroll, and probably I'll play them when I get them. Unless the nerf goes through, then there's no reason for me to play it. So but yeah, still a great scroll. But what we see happen here is our opponent is going to cast Fertile Soil, and they cast Fertile Soil and they sack the Noati. Now, I understand that they're getting sort of value in keeping their wolves alive, but so essentially that's a bonus of maybe 2 attack. But if I had, he's seen Frost Scale. If I had another Frost Scale, he opens himself up to a more. He opens himself up more to. I don't know. It seemed weird. I guess. Let me just level with you guys. It seemed like a weird play. Anyway, I won't belabor the point. You probably see that too. The only thing is maybe cooldowns. So anyway, we get to 8 resources and we cast the Sister of the Fox. We put it kind of in this lane to get our opponent attacking there. Probably had I been thinking, I would have put it in this far lane. It would have allowed two things to happen. The first is that it would have made it so that our opponent, if they wanted to attack that Sisters of the Fox, they would have had to move over to get it, and they would have had to move that wolf sort of out of position. So obviously he's going to come in and he's going to attack my wolf or my Sisters of the Fox. But I'm allowing him then to move to the center lane to attack my Sisters of the Fox, and that's silly because then he gets better positioning and he gets my unit. I know that his unit's going to die anyway with the Quake, so it doesn't matter as much. But I still think that was the wrong play. I should have gone higher to allow him to. I should have gone higher to allow my unit to soak damage in a lane that was less relevant. But now he gets to do 2 more points of damage. So then we see a Kinfolk Veteran of our own. This makes us change our tactics a little bit. We're just going to cast that Veteran out and get rid of that Great Wolf. And also we just saw, this is one thing, it was either this turn or the turn before, our opponent just got an order. So that's telling us a whole lot there. The main thing is that we're actually facing a draw-go deck. So that changes our tactics a little bit now, where we were trying to play the long game. In reality, our opponent probably has a better shot at any sort of long game play. But at this point, we're sort of ahead anyway on resources, and we're ahead. We'll be ahead on board position here shortly. So we're just gonna make this transition as best we can into an aggressive strategy, or into an aggressive position. And this is where it sort of starts. So our opponent with 3 scrolls in hand, we get a Kabonk. That Kabonk definitely signaled to me, the Kabonk on my Veteran signaled to me one of 2 things. He's either holding another Veteran, and he's planning to attack my Kinfolk Veteran with his, or he has a Quake in hand and he has the ability to Quake shortly, because you don't waste a Kabonk on a unit you know is going to either die to a mass removal spell, or he either knows he's dealing with this, or he has a way to deal with this that only deals, or that works in packets of 3 damage, which would be a Kinfolk Veteran. So this is much easier, by the way. I like that I don't have to think about the game when I'm talking about it. So side note, this is all right. Maybe I'll do all of these. Let me know. Do you think this is better that I analyze my games after the fact, or do you want to see me analyze them during the game? I don't know. I'll leave it up to you. Anyway, so the wolf is sort of out of place. He's hiding from us. He's just trying to get on the board. We're going to go down and try and engage with him, but we have some interesting options. I think there we just pitch for resources. I'm sorry, pitch for scrolls. We have 8 to spend here. Now, we know we're not casting a Crimson Bull. We know we're not casting a Quake. We know we're not casting a Rally. Unless we wanted to do, which there is an argument that could be made that our play should have been Vader, Crimson Bull, Rally, and that would have taken out this Mangy Wolf. I think my rationale was holding on to the Vader for, holding onto the Rally for when I had a Great Wolf in play. So instead we cast Eye of Eagle here, and then that dictates, I think, the rest of our turn is going and putting out a Great Wolf, and then what did I do? Did I put out a Great Wolf, or did I? Yeah, I put out a Great Wolf to and then the Vader, so that I could capitalize on Rally next turn, sort of a bigger, better Rally here. But we get Quaked, and we're okay with that Quake, because what do you do? So this is where we bring on the Rally. We cast Eye of Eagle. We pitch our Quake here because at this point, knowing that we're playing against a Draw-Go deck, we just don't want to allow them any more turns to get back in this game. That heritage is really going to help him next turn, because since they have no scrolls in hand, we're okay letting that mangy wolf die instead of letting it deal damage, if that makes any sense. Instead of just completely trying to ignore that and letting it deal 2 damage and gain some health, we're just gonna take it out. So that's our plan. And I think we do that with a ragged wolf. Yeah. So we protect some of our guys. We put damage on some stuff. And yeah, we put ourselves in a good position. Now he has a lot of scrolls in hand, but we see 1 summons. We see 2 summons. We see 3 summons. So now, this almost looks scary, because it's like, oh, look at all those things that he cast, and oh no, he has 4 scrolls in hand. But really at this point, what we know is he has 4 scrolls in hand, and 3 of them are going to be memorials. So really he's got one action spell maybe, and then 3 memorials. So we'll see what he does after that. We see a memorial come down and a kinfolk veteran. So now we know he has 2 memorials in his hand, and there's a kinfolk veteran. So at this point we're feeling pretty confident. Our goal is now to deal our maximizer damage. Looking at our board position, we're definitely very fragile, and we're open to some serious damage that could be dealt to us, but we're gonna still go for it, play out of Sisters of the Fox, because really the Sisters of the Fox isn't technically losing us a spell. We pitch, I think it was a Ranger's Bane there, but we cast a Crimson Bull, and then we cast a Rally, so that then we can get in there, deal lots of damage. And that pretty much seals it. Even a Quake here is gonna put us in. Oh, yep, he had a Frost Scale. That's what it was. So even a Frost Scale, we have a little mini God Hand in our hand with a Rally Crimson Bull, and then we have enough resources just to finish it off. So we go ahead and do that. So really, we didn't give our opponent too much of a chance to do anything in that. We just had enough stuff, I guess. But yeah, in the end we take it down with a good early game hand advantage, late game aggressive position. You can see those 3 Fertile Soils helped us outdraw our opponent, and then just outplay him with more resources, or him or her, sorry. So units played, just 4 more things, and most of them were action stuff. Counting, he gets to count a memorial in there, and then spells cast. 3 of them were Fertile Soils, and then like a couple Quakes. So some just overall power stuff that helps us win the day. Is a really interesting matchup. The Eternal Struggle Monogrowth versus Go Draw. I think I like Monogrowth's chances. I mean, I see draws like that, and I think that my hand didn't really come together until later. I had the ability to Fertile Soil stuff early, and that helped. But you can really see in the late game, when he needed action spells, he got 3 summons, and I don't know if that's indicative of all of these decks, but there's definitely a point where they're very susceptible or fragile to multiple summons. And I don't know, I'm rambling at this point, which is what I like to do, so you probably know that by now. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Until then.